Hello and welcome. I am Pranay Upadhayay and you are watching Namaste World, your daily window into the biggest stories shaping India and the world. We begin in South Asia, where India and Afghanistan decided to reopen air trade routes, bypassing Pakistan in a major strategic shift. In United Kingdom, Britain's Dragonfire laser shoots down a high-speed drone, signaling a new era in warfare technology. In the West, US President Donald Trump escalates feud with South Africa by blocking its invite to 2026 G20 summit. And the biggest news of the day, Russian President Vladimir Putin will visit India on December 4th and 5th for a crucial summit with Prime Minister Narendra Modi amid Ukraine peace talks and US pressures. All that and more. Global flashpoints, power plays, and the stories that matter are coming up in this edition of Namaste World. Russian President Vladimir Putin arrives in New Delhi next week for a two-day state visit on December 4th and 5th. At the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, President Putin is coming to participate in the 23rd India-Russia Annual Summit. Mark this, it is President Putin's first visit to India since Russia-Ukraine war began nearly 4 years ago. The timing is striking. His trip comes at a time when US-brokered peace talks on Ukraine is gaining momentum, with Putin yesterday calling a new American draft proposal a possible basis for future agreements, but only if Kyiv makes a territorial concession. At the very same moment, India continues to face punitive US tariffs of 50% imposed because New Delhi keeps buying discounted Russian oil. In Delhi, President Droupadi Murmu will accord President Putin a ceremonial welcome and host a state banquet. The Russian president will be holding a detailed bilateral talks with Prime Minister Modi on December 5th, covering everything from defense, security and space to energy, oil and gas, and the biggest global challenges of our time. A pivotal moment as one of the world's oldest strategic partnership navigates some of its newest tensions. India and Afghanistan are preparing to reconnect in a way that completely bypasses Pakistan, with a direct cargo flight set to take off after a year of disruption. Could this new air corridor reshape regional trade and tilt the strategic balance? Here is a report by Sharik Saha.
India and Afghanistan are moving closer once again, and this time they are doing it above Pakistan's head. After months of border closures, airspace restrictions and stalled trade routes, New Delhi and Kabul are gearing up to launch direct cargo flights, reopening a vital economic lifeline between the two nations. The decision came during Afghan Commerce Minister Al-Haj Nuruddin Azizi's 5-day visit to India, part of Kabul's push to break its dependence on Pakistan, which has repeatedly shut its borders and choked cross-border trade after military clashes.
First of all, हम दो तरफ़ा इक़्तिसादी जो हमारे बिटवीन टू नेशन जो इक़्तिसादी रवाबत था तकरीबन 1 अरब या $1 बिलियन जो ट्रेड और कारोबार था, इसमें हम चाहते हैं कि इसमें इजाफा करें, क्योंकि पोटेंशल और ज़रफ़ियत दोनों मुल्कों में मौजूद है और इरादा भी मौजूद है, और हमारे प्राइवेट सेक्टर चाहते हैं कि इस प्रोग्राम और इस बरनामे में खूब अच्छी तरह काम करें। लिहाजा कुछ छोटा छोटा मसाइल था, वीज़े के मसाइल था, और जो एक्सपेंसेस हवाई कॉरिडोर के लिए बीच में था, तो ये मसाइल हल करने के लिए हम इधर आए, जो कि अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इंशाल्लाह अभी पॉइंट टू पॉइंट हम आपको बताते हैं। ये सारे अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह हल हो गया, और मुतवक्की यही है कि इंशाल्लाह हमारे ट्रेड और इन्वेस्टमेंट और ट्रांजिट खूब अच्छी तरह इंशाल्लाह इसमें इजाफा आएगा, और इंशाल्लाह सेक्टर खुसूसी इस मज़ीयत से इस्तिफ़ादा करेंगे। जो हमें चाबहार के मसीर से जो हम बात कर रहे हैं कि इस रास्ते को हम खोलेंगे, इंशाल्लाह ये भी हम बीच में डिस्कस हुआ है, और जो ज़मीनी और एयर कॉरिडोर है, इस पे मज़ीद काम हो रहा है, और बीच में ये मसाइल था कि हमारे सफ़र था, अल्हम्दुलिल्लाह इस सफ़र से हम मुतमईन है। इस सफ़र से जो हमने प्राइवेट सेक्टर के साथ जो हमने डिस्कस किया, जो ऑफिशियल वज़ीर साहिबान के साथ जो वज़ीर साहब तिजारत है और वज़ीर साहब ख़ारिजा जो हमने डिस्कस किया, सारे फैसिलिटी और दोनों तरफ से सारे इस रास्ते के लिए सारे फैसिलिटी देने के लिए इंशाअल्लाह दोनों मुल्क तैयार है, ताकि ये हमारे ट्रेड और ट्रांजिट खूब अच्छी तरह इंशाअल्लाह तरक्की करें।
A senior Indian official announced that air freight corridors on the Kabul-Delhi and Kabul-Amritsar sectors are now activated and cargo flights will begin soon. All paperwork on India's side is done and now the ball lies in Afghanistan's court. For Kabul, the urgency is real. Afghan farmers and exporters have suffered massive losses, over $100 million after Pakistan closed key border points like Torkham and Chaman. Perishable goods rotted in stranded trucks, thousands of workers were hit, and Pakistan's airspace closure blocked Indian airlines from flying into Afghanistan. Air cargo could change that overnight, allowing Afghan fresh fruits, herbs, and agricultural products to reach Indian markets in hours instead of weeks. And India too gains. Stronger trade ties give New Delhi an alternative route into Central Asia, avoiding Pakistan entirely. The two sides are now planning trade attaches, new joint working groups, and even exploring air courier routes between Kabul, Kandahar, Delhi, and Amritsar. Kandahar flights, though, are under detailed security review given the IC-814 hijack history. But despite the optimism, there's caution. Traders in Amritsar say they are still waiting for official notifications and progress since key Taliban visits has been slow. Still, one thing is clear. As India resets its diplomatic approach and Afghanistan looks beyond Pakistan's shadow, both countries are preparing for a new, higher altitude chapter in their relationship. The sky, quite literally, may become the route that connects two old partners. With Shorik Shah, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
The United Kingdom has just tested a weapon that feels less like a reality and more like science fiction. A laser that shoots down drones at a speed of light for just $13 a shot. Could Dragonfire redefine the future of warfare altogether? Here is a report by Farhan Khan.
The United Kingdom has just tested a weapon that looks straight out of a sci-fi film. A laser so powerful, it can shoot down a drone traveling at 650 kilometers per hour. Almost twice the speed of a Formula 1 car. It's called Dragonfire, and the Royal Navy recently put it through its paces at the Hebrides range in Scotland. So what exactly is this futuristic weapon? Dragonfire is a high-energy precision laser system developed by MBDA UK, Leonardo, Kinetic, and the UK Ministry of Defence. Unlike traditional missile systems which cost a fortune every time you press the launch button, this laser fires a beam of light so concentrated it can slice through drones, missiles, or airborne threats, and it does it instantly. The Ministry of Defence says each shot costs just $13, that's less than a fast food meal. Officials claim Dragonfire can hit a 1-pound coin from a kilometer away, giving it pinpoint accuracy. That means when the laser locks onto a target's most vulnerable spot, like a warhead, it can cause structural failure in seconds. And because it shoots at the speed of light, there's virtually no time for the target to dodge or escape. During trials, the system first tracked an incoming drone using an electro-optical camera and a low-power tracking laser. Once locked in, the main beam fired and the drone simply dropped out of the sky, trailing smoke. No explosions, no debris cloud, just silent, precise destruction. Dragonfire is mounted on a turret and uses Leonardo's beam director, which channels the immense 50 kilowatt class laser onto the target. On Royal Navy ships, it will work alongside the Samson radar system, capable of tracking threats up to 400 kilometers away. The UK has already signed a $417 million contract to speed up deployment, with the first Dragonfire set to be installed on a Type 45 destroyer by 2027. followed by the upcoming Type 26 frigates. The Army and Royal Air Force are expected to get their own versions in future. It's cheap, fast and precise, and it marks a major shift in modern warfare. With Dragonfire, Britain is betting big on lasers as the next era of defense technology. With Farhan Khan, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
US President Donald Trump has taken an unprecedented step by excluding South Africa from 2026 G20 summit in Miami, escalating the diplomatic clash between the two countries. Is this really about human rights or a political move to reshape global alliance? Here is a report by Rishika Radhya.
US President Donald Trump has now escalated his spat with South Africa. He's officially disinvited the country from the 2026 G20 summit in Miami. Last month, Trump made waves when he announced he wouldn't attend the G20 in Johannesburg. Now, he's taken the next step, claiming South Africa is not a country worthy of membership anymore and vowing to halt all US payments and subsidies immediately. Trump's reasoning? He alleges that white farmers in South Africa are facing genocide, a claim widely debunked by experts. On social media, he accused the South African government of killing white people and criticized the media for ignoring the situation. His inner circle, including Elon Musk, has amplified these claims, but the numbers tell a starkly different story. Of over 26,000 murders in South Africa in 2024, only a handful occurred on farms, and most were linked to robbery, not racial targeting. The US boycott of the Johannesburg summit wasn't subtle. No senior officials attended, and Trump publicly condemned South Africa for refusing to hand over the G20 gavel to a US representative. In May, Trump even offered refugee status to white South Africans, while continuing to accuse the government of systematic human rights abuses. Claims strongly rejected by President Cyril Ramaphosa, who called the allegations regrettable and stressed. There is just no genocide in South Africa. The disinvitation may have bigger strategic angle. Reports suggest the US is eyeing Poland as a potential replacement for South Africa at the 2026 G20, citing ideological alignment with the Trump administration. Yet, any such move would require consensus among all G20 members. At most, experts predict the US can deny visas to South African officials, effectively sidelining them from the Miami summit. Trade stakes add another layer of tension. The US is South Africa's second largest trading partner, with bilateral trade totaling $26.2 billion in 2024, alongside over $581 million in US assistance. Trump's punitive measures threaten this vital economic relationship, while the South African government maintains it will continue participating in the G20 as a full, active, and constructive member. Trump's disinvitation highlights a deeper pattern: misinformation, unilateral action, and a willingness to isolate nations over disputed claims. South Africa, a democratic nation shaped by the legacy of apartheid and led by Cyril Ramaphosa, is standing firm. Their absence is their loss, Ramaphosa said of US officials skipping the Johannesburg summit. The big question remains: is Trump's hardline stance against South Africa a principled defense of human rights, or just another political maneuver to rile his base and rewrite global alliances? With Rishika Radhya, Bureau Report, India Today Global.
As we wrap up today's show, here is a quick look at the top stories making waves around the world. Hong Kong ends rescue efforts as deadly residential tower fire pushes death toll nearly 130. Sri Lanka battles deadly floods and landslide as toll rises and heavy rains continue. Burial space nearly exhausted in Lviv as Ukraine seeks new cemetery amid ongoing war. And this brings us to the end of today's edition of Namaste World. From breakthroughs in technology and business to political developments and natural disasters. Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates, key developments and more from New Delhi to New York. See you again tomorrow, right here at the same time on Namaste World.